This is a disclaimer. This podcast features 4 professional idiots who share their insights and anecdotes. This podcast is intended for entertainment purposes only. This podcast represents the opinions of the guests and should not be taken as medical, legal, or professional advice.
Why do we round? Why do we do these things? That's kind of what I wanted to delve into. I didn't know anything about medicine until I was basically in med school, like rounding in my 3rd year.
What do you mean you didn't know anything?
And I didn't even know what calling a consult meant.
For real?
Yeah. I didn't understand anything. I had no idea. Until I was like in the thick of it doing things, I had no idea how hospitals were run.
See, I feel like more than anything, like going between like different, because like, I mean, you've pretty much stayed in the U of A area and then you did your residency, up north, but like, I don't know, from going to different states and different hospitals, I think the biggest thing that I've just realized is how easy it is to spot an ineffective like hospital routine management, ineffective like hospital settings compared to like an actual effective one where it's like everything that they do makes sense compared to like, why are we doing it this way? This doesn't make any sense. We're not saving any money. You're actually jeopardizing yourself and you're going to be more liable for lawsuits if people actually have half the brain.
You rotated at Tucson's U of A, right? Or
yeah.
Tucson's VA, excuse me. Tucson U of A, the VA down there, right?
I didn't do the VA down there. I just stayed at the main hospital.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, I can talk about my experience at the VA in that context.
Man, but I feel like and that's the thing. Like, I've had some people who have reported experiences of like VAs actually functioning like a well-oiled machine. But every VA, I feel like I've only been to 2, but like I feel like they all suck, and everyone knows that they don't have to do a job there, and they are on government pay, and their government. I don't know. They don't worry about getting fired ever.
Oh, so be good content for the episode. What's up, Ben? How you doing, dude?
Oh, God, is this the first episode with 2 Bens in it?
Oh, no. Is it really? This is the...
No, I don't think it's the
first.
I think it's the second, but I think it's the first for a while.
Oh, it's been a long time.
So it's Dr. Ben, and I got to be actually very careful to be like Dr. Ben or Bengineer.
Remind me what the topic is for today, because I may have another...
I kept it kind of general. Like, why is that a thing? Like, why are things the way they are? Why are there safety regulations? Why do we talk about why are submersibles not supposed to be built out of carbon graphite?
Carbon fiber.
Or carbon fiber. That one. Carbon graphite. Wait, that's
also a thing.
I know, but I was like, isn't that redundant?
A little bit. So if the other thing, if we are needing time or more things, which I don't know if we've ever been in a case where we're like, my God, we don't have enough to talk about.
Yeah, those are pretty few and far between, especially when we have a lot of pre-roll like this, because we're just waiting on Pat at this point.
But if somebody, like, I don't need to bring this up. If somebody wants to prompt me, it's slightly older, aka April, but the SpaceX launch, the Starship launch, that fucking exactly. Because a lot of people, I think I briefly talked about it, but I can go into more detail. Like, a lot of people didn't know what to think about it. They're like, but the rocket blew up. I'm going to stop there so that I don't get ahead of myself. But you know what I'm talking about. And that's straight up my
We talked
alley.
about that so I posted the episode last night. Well, that's new. And that was the episode where you popped off about a bunch of stuff. And that's the episode where you talked about like the dust and debris from the sound completely destroying these concrete pads and spreading into multiple other states as much as 15 kilometers away. And so like the EPA...
I can also talk about just the rocket itself.
Yeah, I think that's worth talking about. I think it's worth talking about the submersible because that's obviously a hot topic.
I need to read
I think that if you wanted
more into that.
I don't know what you had in terms of content, but talking about the MRI machine. Pat's usually
not me.
Pat's usually not Dr. Ben. God damn it. This is already going to be a problem.
Huh?
The MRI machine and why we don't put metal in it.
Oh.
How badly did that go the first time somebody thought of that?
Well, I mean, wait, have you not heard the story?
Yeah.
We'll just let me save it. I'll react to it when
when you hear about what happens, and Ben and I, Dr. Ben and I can basically bounce off each other about why metal and MRIs are bad, and B, why manufacturers need to actually state what's in their product. I'm going to start pretty brief, Dr. Ben. I'm going to basically lead in with like, why is there so much goddamn medical jargon? Why do we talk like goddamn, Latin professors? And then I was going to segue into
why is there so much damn judicial jargon? Why do they talk like they're Latin professors?
Exactly. Well, Pat can definitely touch on that. But since we're both in the same sort of area of fields and like the historic, that was the thing. Like there wasn't a caste system in America per se, or European countries, but there is even today to some degree, where the whole American dream was to break that caste system. The whole American dream was, if you work hard enough, you can go to school. Anyone can go to school and be a doctor, a lawyer. I mean, it's not even 100 years ago. It's like 50 or 60 years ago, where everybody was required to wear a suit and tie to go to medical school, like to go to lectures. If you didn't, you get expelled. It's just like, that's the sort of barriers that used to exist. And so, anyways, content for the episode.
Where's Pat?
I texted him. He said he's going to be here. He's usually not the one that's late.
I
He's
know.
usually
That's
the one
why
complaining that we're all fucking behind.
Yeah, I went on a deep
Oh,
dive this entire week, like most of, I think, the world, with the submarine, because I was like, well, I'm not doing anything else at work right now, so why not just like watch videos for multiple hours? And I didn't realize that there was like a similar incident, apparently, like in the 60s or 70s, where there was like a pressurized change or something. I'd have to look it up. Apparently, there was some accident that happened where like someone's insides essentially just went up into their helmet.
Oh, with the MRIs? Oh, hey.
I can see that.
No, not MRI. They were diving.
Oh, so like the implosion did something?
Well, it wasn't like an implosion per se. It was more like the pressure
20
difference.
26 atmospheres of pressure.
Yeah.
Isn't one atmosphere just what we feel normally?
The Byford Dolphin accident is what it was called, apparently.
Byford Dolphin. I'm going to let Ben what is it?
That was in apparently 1983, an explosive decompression event that killed 4 divers and 1 dive tender. And apparently they did like a Mythbusters episode on it too.
How do you spell that? Byford?
Byford.
Oh, it didn't even come close.
Did I?
Shut up.
I thought Byford Dolphin was like, not like dolphin animal, like some weird ass like Nordic name or something.
No, I spelled it completely phonetically. I was like, dolphin. I'm like, that's something different. Wait, built as a deep sea driller?
Yeah, it's a semi-submersible.
I wouldn't be surprised if like a lot of the safety regulations come from these kinds of incidences, because
good. There were 2 accidents reported: a deep sea driller accident and a diving bell accident.
we haven't learned yet, or at least I feel like, okay, I'm going to post a meme, and it's a little too soon of a meme, but
no, it's not. Have you been seeing the or has that just been going to the other one?
Well, no, I it's a medical meme related to the submersible.
Well,
so.
the ones that are all fucked up, right, they're fucked up, but kind of funny that it's been happening at the same time. Apparently, there's been a bunch of stories where like orcas are like attacking ships.
Yes, I heard about that too.
In Europe and elsewhere.
I did hear about that.
And they're fucking eating their rudders.
Yeah, and like the one video meme that I saw that was like actually interesting. They're like, okay, well, if the submarine event with the decompression event actually occurred probably early on into the dive when they lost connection, and hours later or days later they were hearing banging, then what the hell was doing the banging?
Oh, good point.
Also, no, the video I posted in
the meme.
The video I posted in general, that is under 1 atmosphere, and that is imploding railroad cars.
Oh, I've seen that. That's the one where the
Mythbusters did that
thing
too.
like caves in.
Yeah, Mythbusters did that too. But
you can do that with a Coke can in your house. You put it over your stove, and then you put it upside
Ice
down
water.
with the top into a bucket of ice water. The air condenses, and the air on the outside of the can just whoosh turns it into a 5-cent recyclable.
Hello.
What's up, Pat?
Nothing, man. I just spaced out. I'm sorry.
They were looking at how many nanoseconds actually the decompression event would occur, and then someone was like calculating out how long it takes for like nociceptors to respond or for your brain to register. So some people were saying they may have actually had like 0.02 or some random amount of nanoseconds where they realized what was happening, but
not actually being able to visualize it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I imagine the creaking of the metal probably gave it away.
No. See, one of the divers was because I got a new car this week, and he was a diver. I don't think that there would have been any creaking or anything. I think it would have just been boom, and it would have
happened.
Oh, well.
We should wait. Also, I have a great quote from Scott Manley that I'm absolutely using and then attributing to him.
Pat, are you playing video games?
Yeah, of course I am.
Okay. You could be ready to talk.
I'm completely paying attention. I have questions about the things that have just been said, so I'm just waiting my turn.
Okay.
What game are you playing?
Diablo 4.
That's a game you could. That's a pretty game you could not pay attention.
Excuse me while I pull up Diablo 4.
No. God damn it.
Minecraft?
Patrick, what kind of trend have you started? All right. Everyone shut up. I'm going to start the episode. We're 12 minutes late.
Yeah, it's my fault for once.
Okay, Ramon.
Welcome back, everyone, to Overqualified Idiots. My name is Dan Casey. Shut up! God damn it!
Why can't we start out by laughing? I think that's fair.
I hate it.
Keep it
in. Shut up. I don't know. My name is Dan Casey. I'm a primary care sports specialist, MD. If you're new to the podcast, because I don't even think I did this last episode, this is a podcast where doctors, lawyers, a rocket scientist, and pharmacists come together to share our stories and hopefully make you laugh. Today, I am joined by two Bens, which is going to be confusing as shit.
Hello.
Okay. I don't need to sound you guys off. Dr. Ben.
Hey.
And Bengineer.
Hello. Which is how we'll be referring to them just so it's freaking easier.
Until I forget, and then I'll say something and you'll both respond.
That's about as confusing as calling me PJ and when PJ's on. So
oh my god, that's right. You go by PJ. That's confusing as shit too.
That's like my gamer nickname, actually. Yeah, I know.
Oh, that's right. I forget that.
It'd be really bad if Dan was missing and it was PJ, Ben, Janier, and Dr. Ben. That would be problematic. Oh, that's me, Patrick Casey, JD. Hi, everybody.
Oh man, okay, bye format. I didn't need you anyways. It's fine. So it's funny too, because usually Alex is here to segue me into an episode, and that keeps you in tow, because usually you spoil the topic of the episode. That's not a cue to spoil the topic of the episode. Well,
what is the topic of the episode?
Explosions, implosions, and magnets.
That sounds like fun.
What do those do?
I have no clue.
Implosions, explosions, and magnets. Oh my!
There's the name of your episode.
I like that better than my idea. I was like, why is that a thing? Okay, we'll go with that. But no, that's way better. All right, so basically, small talk. Who has something interesting going on in their world?
I'm probably 24 hours out from hearing if I got a job.
Oh,
very nice.
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Dude, hopefully a pre-congrats on that. Dude, let me know what you find out. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dr. Ben, what's new with you, man? I haven't talked to you in a while.
Let's see. We just had graduation for our program the other night. That was cool, I guess. I don't know.
Are you okay, man? Every time, well, this big important thing happened, I guess that's fine.
I mean, I'm transitioning to like nights again in like another week, so then you'll be able to like always ask if I'm on nights.
My God, I haven't had you on the podcast in since episode 2 of the season, I think. And I swear to God, the last time I talked to you, you were like, I'm going on nights again. And now I even commented then, every time I talk to you, every time you are on the podcast, you're like, oh, I'm about to go on nights. It's without fail. So I'm sorry. Every time you're going into the worst part of your job. I don't know, man. You tell me. I kind of like nights. I like nights because there's sort of this peace and solitude, and I'm in control. I can do whatever I want.
Peace and solitude? I don't know about that one, Keith.
Well, I mean, I don't have to talk to anyone.
I feel like nights I don't like personally because
in my opinion, like, you're not there to change things or correct people from things that were done during the day. Like, you shouldn't really, that's not your job. You're supposed to just make sure, like, a fire doesn't happen and the hospital burns down. So I think for me, it's difficult because I'm very OCD and I like things just done a certain way. So for me,
you're detail oriented.
Yeah, I'm very detail oriented. So when like things aren't done in a detail oriented manner, it just ticks at me. It it just scratches at my side. And
yeah, but like that's what you do. It's like you can be the hero. You can be the guy on nights who also is like, hey, I saw these things to the day team when you sign out. Like, hey, these are things to consider. I like that. I don't know. I think we have very different perspectives. I liked not having to
deal with people.
Yeah. I liked not. I mean, I liked nights when I was alone. When I had an intern with me, that was probably my least favorite because then I had to fill time. I had to teach. I had to make stuff up. I had to keep them busy, and I hated that. I hate that artificiality of it. I was like, okay,
I'd rather just have
you may as well be learning.
Yeah, I'd rather do something where I'm just able to control it myself. Like I would honestly rather have a rotation where it's just like a nocturnist, and I'm able to just do everything the way I want.
I understand that. And before we get too off topic, Patrick, what's new, man? How's Best of Mankato?
Well, I'm not supposed to officially talk about that until this coming week. It's not. It'll get released.
Oh no! I posted the episode. It's supposed to be this Tuesday.
Yeah, it's supposed to be released this Tuesday, but you posted the episode that it had it on. It's fine. I won't get in too much trouble. I won't get in any trouble.
Just literally throw your brother under the bus.
I made a mistake. I forgot it. You told me this episode will come out June 27th, and I didn't even think about it. Okay,
yeah,
we're fine.
It's fine.
I'm fine.
Everything's fine.
Oh, no.
As far as new things, we just had a party. It was great.
Awesome.
We were raising money for legal services. We had it at my partner's house. Yeah, the biggest problem that I had this weekend was that we drove to get my car from my partner's house because we Ubered home because we're responsible. We don't drive drunk.
Attaboy.
Yeah. My kid remembered his keys. I was supposed to drop somebody's... Hold on. I was supposed to drop somebody's credit card off on my way home. I almost forgot the credit card. We had to turn around. But I did forget the keys to my vehicle. So that happened. So it was a lot of driving to Randy's house, driving back to my house. Yeah, it was fun. Lots of fun.
So, Benchneer, can you tell we're related?
Right. No, not at all. Have I told the story on your first time I met Dan? I think I have.
I think you
have.
Yeah,
you have.
A very
you 100% version. You did the short version. I think I'd heard a slightly longer version before.
It was the Why Are We Idiots episode.
Yeah. It was I'm pretty sure that was the very first episode. It's like like things I learned too late. And you were like, just so people understand who we're talking about, Dan. The first time I met Dan, he locked his keys in his car. Still the first time and only time it's happened. Maybe I'll flesh out that story more someday. Honestly, we gotta get into the topic.
What's the topic again?
Oh my god. Explosions, implosions, and magnets. Oh my. But I don't know. As a general theme is like, why are things the way they are? Why
did Dan lock his keys in the car?
There's a few reasons for that. But not what we're talking about today. Why are things the way they are in our fields? To an outsider looking in, it probably looks very strange. A lot of these regulations, a lot of these rules seem unnecessary. A lot of them seem like excess or waste. In fact, I think someone in the news recently was quoted as saying that about a very important submersible. But at the end of the day, rules and regulations and the way things are structured exist for a reason. I'll talk about medical jargon, for example. I think that you guys have called me out while talking on this episode about, Dan, can you speak in English? The fuck are you saying? Why are you explaining this really complex medical term and concept like we're doctors? And I go, let me back up.
Yeah, we're smart people, but we didn't all go to med school,
Yeah, and that's just it. It's like learning a different language. And that's how it's intended to be. Because when you talk about charting, when you talk about physicians communicating like from one physician to another, from one specialist to another, for example, Ben doing sign out. What is sign out? What the hell is that? What is that term I just threw out? Well, it's when a doctor from the day team or from the night team reports to the next team. Sign-outs are statistically the highest rate of when mistakes and medical accidents happen. because things aren't fully communicated or things are communicated poorly. I mean, sign outs like, God, I want to go home. I've been here for 12 hours. They've tried the 8-hour thing where people work a normal shift, but then that increases the number of sign outs and the number of medical mistakes. So they're like, nope, you guys get to work 12 hours. Figure it out.
People still want to go home after 8 hours, turns out.
People still want to go home after 8 hours and 12 hours. So then the sign outs are brief or they're concise to a fault. So medical jargon exists so that a doctor can explain to another doctor in their terms what's important, what they need to take away, what they need to follow up on, and what they're worried about, or even just what the next steps in the plan are. And like, for example, a day team, and you can bounce off this a little bit, Dr. Ben. The day team sign out to the night person is usually a little more abbreviated. You get, unless it's actually, well, shitstorm of a day. You get, who is this person? What is the plan generally? And what are we worried about? Because I don't know if you guys do this or if you've had this sort of practice. When we sign out, we start with the patients. Okay, this is the one I'm worried about. This is the one you need to star. This is the patient to keep an eye on to keep them from crumping or something along those lines. I don't know if you wanted to speak to that at all.
I don't know. I mean, like, I think every checkout is different. And that's where, again, like, going off of, like, everyone has different styles. So, like, for me personally, like, I'd rather just go top down based off of, like, room number. And then we notify, like, during that checkout of that patient, like, which one is the sickest. This is what you need to be watching out for. But, like, checkouts, you're right, where if you have an ineffective checkout, information's lost, you have the highest chance for, like, having medical errors to occur. And it gets even worse, like you said, where, like, when you're on the inpatient wards, right, you'll have a short team and a long team. So on the medicine, like, we'll have 7 teams on the medicine wards, and then you'll have 6 are short. And what that means is you get 6 teams that if they get all of their work done by 3, they get to go home. And then the other team is the long call team. So that means they're there from 3 till 7 p.m. when the night team comes. And that means from 3 to 7, they have gotten checkout on all of the other teams, and they're managing their own team, and they're taking all the calls for new admits or any issues. So a lot of things can go wrong if you don't check out effectively.
So that's why, like, medical jargon and these medicalese exist, is so that a doctor can quickly and efficiently communicate to another doctor. It's not just to keep people in the dark, although to some degree I think archaically that may have been part of it.
I was going to say, I've definitely heard stories of people using it to just act smart, maybe a bit.
To be pretentious.
Yeah, exactly.
To be a pretentious prick. And at the end of the day, if you speak another language, it's very easy to say, well, I know speak a whole another language than you. I am so much smarter than you. And it's like, it's the same idea, except then it's in a field that's respected. So allegedly it carries more weight. That is the opposite of how it's intended to be used.
I've definitely seen it where it's kind of like a gateway mechanism, or gatekeeping, I should say, where
Gatekeeping, yeah.
Even in the room, people will start using medical jargon. They'll start using medical abbreviations. And I get it. Using medical abbreviations sometimes is very quick to talk and it's very quick in your notes, but I hate medical abbreviations so much, especially like some of the like ophthalmology. So the eye doctors, like some of their medical jargon and like their abbreviations, I try to read their note. I have no clue what the heck is going on.
Yeah, you need to sit there with Dr. Google open next to you and typing in medical abbreviation, DQXCY Batman symbol to figure out what the fuck is going on. And you're like, I have no idea what this person's trying to say. My 3rd year medical school. Patrick, do we have anyone medical in our family besides me at all?
Well, I mean, our great aunt was a nurse.
So like extended family that I
Extended family, sure. Yep.
The point being, I was a 1st generation medical student. I came from a blue collar family. I didn't have any clue how hospitals worked. I literally, my 3rd year of med school is like, what's a consult? And, I mean, maybe that's a little exaggerated, but at the end of the day, I didn't understand, like, oh, there's a main admitting team. Oh, there's a main, like you're saying, a long call and a short call. I had no idea how any of this worked. Now I can only imagine for the average layperson, heaven forbid, they're admitted to the hospital for something serious. They're stressed. They have a hell of a lot more on their mind. They have no idea why they have 4 different doctors at any given moment. And then they don't even know who is their actual doctor. Who's the main doctor? Who's a specialist? Who's managing what? And who is actually an MD or DO versus who is a different title entirely. And those sort of barriers get really confusing, and they can really affect and impact care.
Well, if you're in a position where you can understand where that person's mind is, like your doctor number 4 to touch their file and their issue hasn't resolved, you can tell them, okay, I have talked to this person, and this person, and we have discussed this, and this is how we think it's best to resolve it. As long as you give them that context, I think it'll probably make them feel better.
Yeah.
Make them feel more comfortable. It's not just about knowing the words, but knowing how to convey them to people who are not as obviously versed in the language you're talking about. So,
which is why, like, I think that's one of the most important things you said is, like, I mean, from a hospital setting, like inpatient, that's why you have the main team. You're the principal team. You're like the quarterback, I guess. And I mean, you need to pull all your consults, everyone from the other specialties, what's going on, and then reiterate it to the patient. Like, there's multiple times, like on admissions, especially with like some of our congenital heart kids, where I will draw out what is going on with their child with the heart and explain blood flow, explain kind of the procedure, and the cardiologist will like take it to another level, explaining it in greater detail with pictures and the exact surgical intervention that's going to occur. So for me, like, if I can't explain it in words, that's where I just resort to pictures, because 9 times out of 10, like, then they're able to hold the picture, they have all the notes on it, and then they're able to ask other things afterwards.
Well, yeah,
Point to things.
That's cool.
Point to things rather than having to explain, but what's happening here? They can just go, here, like, you mentioned something's happening here. I don't get that. What is that?
Yeah. Like, most of the time, I mean, we'll have a chest x-ray, or we'll have a CT done, right? And I don't know why people will just explain what they found, but I'll pull up the images and I'll ask them, hey, do you want to see the images as I talk you through like what's going on? And, most of the time they don't, but there's some people that do. And like, then they actually see what is going on, what disease process is happening in their body potentially. And it just gives a better meaning to what we're trying to accomplish.
Exactly. I'm a visual and tactile learner at the end of the day. And I think when you look at the evidence, the vast majority of people are. So what I think is a lot of doctors don't go to that extra lengths you're doing, Dr. Ben. I think a lot of doctors rush in. This is a diagnosis. This is what we're doing. What questions do you have? Okay, none. Goodbye. And like out the door. And because they've got 30 more patients to see. So that extra time, that extra step, that extra, amount of care, when you're on call, when you're getting admits and you're rounding and you're writing notes and you're bogged down with charts and you're bogged down with orders and calling consults. I don't think people, I mean, in a way, residency is kind of nice because you do have a whole team. So you get to delegate and have some of that extra time. But yeah, people walk into like, okay, why do I have 4 doctors on this team? Well, okay, some are learners, some are students, some are interns, and some are residents. And like, until that's explained why there are different roles and what the purpose is, I feel like a lot of people are left in the dark. So this is supposed to be a quick segue into why are things the way they are. And I figure at this point, there's been a lot of explosive, implosive news and recent events. Dr. Ben, you had one that you had brought up as far as why you don't take metal into MRIs. I figured I'd let you run with that one.
So what happened in May of 2023, so not too even long ago, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration actually detailed an MRI accident report that involved a very special toy and a patient. So the patient in the incidents, they were being screened because they were going to get an MRI. So they were essentially going to get an image. They were going to go in this giant metal tube, right? And what happens is before you get any of these things done, a medical professional, and the thing I learned, it doesn't have to be an actual physician or a nurse practitioner or a PA. It actually can be a nurse or whoever is willing to sign off and state that they went through the entire questionnaire. And in these questionnaires for imaging, usually it'll go through past history, if they've ever had this image done before, if they have ever had a surgery or anything. But then it goes into very specific details, like do they have tattoos? Do they have piercings? Do they have any metal fillings or braces or like a defibrillator or any kind of thing, right?
I will also say MRI, magnetic resonance imaging.
Hey, magnets in the word.
All right. So basically, in this event, this patient was getting screened for all these questions. And at some point, either the patient didn't realize that the instrument that was inserted into their butt had metal, or maybe the person who was filling out the questionnaire didn't realize to ask about these things. There was some disconnect, some miscommunication. But essentially, this patient went into the image to get their scan done. And the exam didn't go the way that they wanted, because when they were in the MRI and the MRI was going through, they started to notice that the patient started to scream. And they felt nauseous and they were in pain and they were going to pass out, apparently the report read. It didn't disclose whether they sustained injuries, but it did indicate that the staff called an ambulance and was transported to a nearby hospital. There have been a bunch of images that have been floating all over social media in the last few months ever since this event, where when you look at the MRI images, there is a butt plug that has gone way up into their abdomen.
It's lodged in their diaphragm. Yeah.
As a
I was
result
looking
of
for
a
the-
magnet.
I was
This is
looking
worse
for
than
the
the
image.
chest cheating scandal with butt plugs. Why are these why are butt
Chest-
plugs
Why do butt plugs keep entering into our show? God damn it.
in their abdomen?
Oh, that's not where that goes.
Oh, that's
So
not
yeah,
where it
this is
goes
like
at
a
all.
huge, it's turning into a huge court case now, it looks like, because the patient that was involved is stating that the manufacturer, I guess the device doesn't register that there was any metal or something in it, they're trying to state. So then they were like, oh, well, I don't have any metal in me, so I should be okay to go into this MRI machine. But then, most MRI questionnaires that I've seen, they say to remove all objects from your person or from yourself. So that's also then on the tech almost, and the tech or whoever signed off on the sheet is liable because they didn't ensure that they had removed everything from either off of them or inside of them.
Well, what if the tech did? What if the patient just assumed?
Lied.
Yeah, and I wouldn't use the word lie here, only because ignorance is still a fair excuse in that context.
Fair.
Because if you say, have you removed everything off your person? Well, she didn't. I don't actually know if it's a he or she. This person didn't remove things. I mean, maybe they removed everything off their person. They didn't get asked to remove everything in their person. So at the end of the day, that may have still been a valid question. But yeah,
Do we know what the original reason for admission was? Why were they there?
Routine MRI for some reason.
yeah,
We don't know why.
this was like an outpatient MRI thing where they were getting imaged, is my understanding.
Which turned to an inpatient MRI.
Which turned really quickly into something that needed a hospitalization.
The scary thing is this isn't the only event. In this article that I was reading, apparently this year also in January, a man accompanying his mother to the MRI exam took a bullet to his abdomen when the magnet caused his gun to involuntarily discharge, and another involved a nurse being pinned between the magnet and a gurney after transporting a patient to the MRI suite.
Yeah, so that's idiotic on that person's part. That's straight up negligence. That's essentially illegal. There's no
On
way.
whose part? The one
The
who
man
took
bringing
the gun?
metal. Yeah, the one who brought metal into an MRI machine when he was told not to. Who lied, obviously, about what he had on his person.
Fair.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it depends on the state for
That's just
concealed
someone.
carry, but
I mean, that's the thing. No. So, yeah, you can have
Most
concealed-
hospitals, though, don't they? For say no weapons on these premises.
that's what I
though?
was thinking.
Yes, and I don't
Yeah.
know if that's all outpatient imaging facilities. You get into sort of
Sure.
nitty gritty detail with that, but I'm sure the rule stands across all medical facilities. You can't have weapons on the premises. And then when it says you can't have metal in the MRI room, there's a good reason, because that just happened. So at the end of the day, someone is in trouble, and it should be the person who caused it.
Maybe now is when you mention MRI machines are basically always on, if I'm not mistaken.
When they're running, they are effectively on, and they're incredibly difficult, and it takes an extensive amount of time to turn off. It's not a flip of the switch. It's basically it has to power down for some period of time.
Procedure.
That's why MRIs, they take 45 minutes to an hour to get a clear image. I mean, Dr. Ben, I don't want to put the audience to sleep, but my understanding is MRIs basically align the water in your cells with the magnet so that they basically orient in a certain direction. The difference in water content in tissues create a picture. And that's why you get such good detail of soft
That's really
tissues.
cool. That's
It's at a science
cool.
level. That's really interesting. But that's why it takes for fucking ever, is because it orients the water, it orients the magnet in different planes to get that really high quality image. And that takes time. So yeah, that poor person who had a object in their abdomen that wasn't supposed to be there was probably in agony for a good long while.
And I mean, if anything, they're lucky. I don't know fully because I haven't further investigated the story. But I mean, it sounds like they're still alive. They're lucky that they're alive. And I think it just highlights, why do we do these things? So why do we do checklists? To prevent stuff like this.
Yeah. Why should manufacturers list all of the materials in their products? I mean, I don't think anybody who was making that particular device had that idea in mind, but I bet you they will now. I bet you they will going forward.
Yeah, because they could also get sued.
Well, now they probably
Well,
should.
it sounds like a products liability lawsuit in that there's nothing in if there's nothing in the description that there's metal contained within it. But yeah. I'm still skeptical because you got contributory negligence, meaning this person was informed they needed to take everything off their body by the forms that they had through there. It's their own negligence and not
theoretically.
Yeah, that turns into he said, she said, Pat. So like where does the fault lie as far as you can tell? Because let's say the person was just claims ignorance. Let's say the tech missed it but checked it off. It's hard to actually verify what happened at that level.
But then the hospital could also say that there's nothing on the checklist about anything inserted, because there are IUDs on most checklists. But is there anything about other sexual devices? Not that I've seen on any of our checklists.
Not that I haven't actually. I don't think I've seen the checklist. Yeah, that's going to be a thing now. It just takes one, and then we got a whole new policy.
Please remove all butt
There's a reason your coffee cup says contents hot.
Yeah, contents hot. Right.
Contents hot. Yeah, there you go. Those lawsuits exist, and that's where we get those. What idiot? Well, they're out there. Didn't know we had to spell this one out for you. But yeah, don't wear metal of any kind into an MRI. Don't wear anything that isn't essentially the clothes on your body into an MRI, internal or external, in case you don't want it ripped into other parts of you. Well, that's nice and graphic. So basically, I don't know if you have any last minute parting thoughts on that, but Dr. Ben, I figured I'd let Pat or Bengineer take the wheel.
Fire away, Doc.
That's everything on my end.
All right. No, it's a great story. I love that everybody can contribute to that kind of story too, from legal to science to medical and procedural indications. Like, that's the kind of story I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted for this. Well, I think I'll let Bengineer, we'll go from Ben to Ben.
Yes, I agree.
Bengineer, there's been a hot topic that everyone's been talking about this past week, and it finally has come to some level of resolution.
The orcas, right?
Yeah.
The orcas.
For those that don't know, orcas have been attacking vessels in around Europe. There have been reports that they've been like eating rudders and stuff, which who knows? But
well, it's interesting because that means they learn they can do that and do it safely, and there's some incentive on their part to do it, which is weird. I don't know if you know anything more. I don't know if you know anything more about it than that. That's the surface level knowledge I have of it.
Yeah,
like one orca learned how to do this, and they're like not Pack, or maybe Pack is the right word.
Hey, bruv, come check this out. I don't know why
they're social animals, so they like taught the rest of their herd, and others have learned that they can do this and get away with it. And I don't know what their motivation is.
My favorite would be if they just thought it was funny.
Oh God, I wouldn't be surprised if
we're going off top, but there's so many videos of orcas just like slamming like seals and other things up in the air, like just to mess with them.
So I think the takeaway is orcas are just dicks. Yeah, no, correct. I've seen those. Yep. I've seen those videos. They like play with their prey and play with their food, so to speak. So maybe it is out of spite. I wouldn't be surprised if they're just extremely territorial. But that was not the story I was getting at.
So the story that we're talking about, the implosion, it involves tourism down to the Titanic in a, as an engineer, I will just straight up say, very freaking sketchy submarine.
It was a tin can.
All subs that go that deep are. They just are.
Is that just what it has to be in order to engineer it safely?
Yes. There's the way they, like, the shape of it is very specific to handle. So what you're dealing with is compressive forces. So standing on Earth, we feel one atmosphere of air pushing down on us. That is one atmosphere. Down where they were at the Titanic, they were feeling 23 atmospheres worth of water pushing in on them. So the structure has to be strong enough to push back out 23 atmospheres worth of pressure. Or else, if there's any single failure in that structure, it's catastrophic. And that's, who knows what exactly happened. I will be interested to see if the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Bureau, has to do a report on this, because the only reason I say this is because they are usually very, very thorough, and these tend to get released publicly. Like they do plane accidents, they do train derailments, all that kind of stuff, or NTSB. So I don't know because this also is not, it's near the U.S., but it's, if I'm not mistaken, in international water.
Well, Bengineer, you might have just caused me to go into 7 different areas of law here when I get to speak just on your topic. So I don't think I need to even have my own topic to discuss. I think you've implicated so much with that comment.
It's a good thing your camera's not working. I imagine your eyes just bounced around your head like a.
No. I had a big grin on my face when I was talking about it, because I accept the challenge. There it is.
There you go. All right, I like it. We'll save you for last.
So the big thing is disaster tourism, or what have you, is its own thing. Yeah, there were billionaires, K. There was a 19-year-old, 16-year-old, K. Fine. There have also been things released. Honestly, the thing that worries me the least, it's just kind of the funniest. I say that, is they were using a Logitech controller, not a PlayStation controller, not an Xbox controller, a Logitech controller.
I was going to say $20-$30. It's the most. Okay, it gives you an idea of what they were willing to spend on this submarine if they couldn't even fork out the $50-$60 for a good
the controller I play on my Xbox is almost 10 times.
It's the little brother controller. It's the controller.
Absolutely.
Okay. For those who are our age, which mid-30s to, well, actually, I don't know how old Dr. Ben is, but, kids of the 90s or 80s, there's always that one controller that was kind of shit that you gave to your friend. We're playing Super Smash Bros. Oh, I have to use the one that's got the broken analog stick? Damn it.
Oh, this one doesn't move to the right. This jump button sticks a lot. Oh, so you get that one.
Anyways, that was just kind of for me, I don't care that it's a Logitech controller. If it worked, it worked. I have to imagine there was some sort of testing. That being said, I don't know, because
you hope
everything I've heard from about this is that it sounded like they tried to cut corners to do this as cheaply as possible.
When you've got that kind of money, Ben, why can't you spend I don't know, a navigation system, not a Logitech controller that. It's crazy. It's insane.
Okay, to be fair, off the shelf hardware is used way more than you'd think.
Unbelievable.
I believe that,
because it's literally don't reinvent the wheel level things. I'm holding up a PlayStation 5 controller. There exist drivers for this that you can just install in things, and it knows what happens when you hit left, when you hit right, when you hit this button. That just don't reinvent the wheel.
That makes sense. I saw the memes that have come out of this. Yeah, the memes are hilarious that have come out of it. I saw when somebody said they heard the.
To be honest with you,
they heard the bangs, which at this point I'm not really sure what those were. Somebody posted a meme that they had switched to the alternate navigation system. And do you guys remember the Donkey Kong
bongos?
Yes. Switch to the alternate device. Oh, anyways, I won't derail this too much. I'd be posting memes in the Discord this whole time.
Basically, what it is some fault happened that compromised this structure. And I am using the word instantaneously very specifically here. These people didn't even suffocate. And I'm going to quote I know last episode we gave a lot of our references to people we like on YouTube and what have you. To quote Scott Manley, they turned from biology to physics.
Yeah, I was going to say, this went from a biology thing to a physics thing.
They literally just, it's as though you took a tin can and just smashed it real quick. That just happened within probably a 10th to 100th of a second. So a blink of an eye, and it's just gone.
I mean, that's better than what the alternative was, because they were worried
about talking
4 days of oxygen,
running out of oxygen, food.
Yeah.
that kind of no, none of that. Especially now that we probably know that hilariously classified Navy sonar device saw this, because to get a little bit more into the weeds of it, if suddenly something implodes that was, say, I don't even know how long it wasn't that big. We'll say 10 meters across, 10 yards.
Sure.
That suddenly goes from being 10 yards across to, I don't even know. Let's say a foot, a couple inches. There is that creates a void where there used to be
a thunderclap.
It kind of.
That's
where
like
there used to be
like lightning.
There used to be things, and now there's nothing. So for a while, there's a vacuum there. So that's actually what probably the Navy saw, was this vacuum. It's a pressure wave, and pressure waves travel very, very well through water.
Right, that's a thunderclap. So lightning strikes, it literally splits the air. The air suddenly, there's no air there.
That's all.
So it comes back together, and it makes a thunderclap.
Yes, that is correct.
But water is a good resonator, so it basically is why sonar picked it up. Now, here's the thing that bothers me, and mind you, I don't want to derail you.
I'm basically done.
They heard this on Sunday, and we've been talking about them suffocating until Thursday when it was announced. I don't want to go too much into
the
politics
implosion. The implosion happened on Sunday.
Yeah,
allegedly
classified.
I think that's what was so the device is classified. That's why they didn't.
They were really hoping because
what? So they were leading the whole entire public along that there's a possibility these people were going to be okay, and then they talk about debris coming to the surface on Thursday.
Also, let's not forget that the media is probably to blame for a lot of this. They could have.
Makes sense.
They could have. I recall hearing. Maybe I'm wrong on the timing of this. The timing is all. I'm gonna have to see a timeline at some point in terms of like when things got released. It's entirely possible the media got told that the Navy heard something and just went, but they could still be alive, and we can run with this story for 4 days.
Point taken.
Airtime and numbers.
Right. So it goes. The media loves a disaster.
Well, yeah, it drives the numbers.
So that's all I've got for that. So Pat, but besides, and I will also get this out of the way. No, this is not bad for submarine tourism. It's probably actually the best thing that could have happened, because the tourism on Mount Everest went way up after some people died, and it made the papers.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because people didn't know this was possible.
I guess if you don't know it exists, you wouldn't search it out.
Right.
Now people know, and they're like, oh, let's go to the one that doesn't look like a tin
There's
can.
a bubble. Oh, they all look like tin cans. But anyways, so Pat.
Maybe, well, you see the meme I posted in the Discord.
Yes.
It's like an empty tin can versus what is essentially a professionally...
James Cameron's.
Yeah.
So what are the law implications of this, Pat? Like,
can I start? I want to start off with something a little bit different here. So the way it was reported on that vein, and I'll lead into some of the legal issues with that cross over from our previous story. The way that they made it sound like, we're looking for him. We heard a sound, and then debris came up, and I'm like, have we seen Rick and Morty? Has anybody watched that show? Because this really just sounds like a Rick and Morty episode. Like somebody's trying to fake their own death. It seems, the whole thing just seems so absurd to me that this is actually something that happened. Just because you talk about the Logitech controller, you talk about just a billionaire, people with significant means cutting corners on their life. I mean, it just seems. It seems insane.
We didn't get into the documentation, though, that they had to sign, where someone said, like, in the very first page, it mentions death, like, 3 times or something.
Oh, the waiver. Yeah, we can talk about waivers, too. All right, so let's start off with the first issue. We're in international waters, so what's the jurisdiction? If there's any type of lawsuit against anyone, most of the individuals here, as I understand it, are from the great United States. Most likely are going to be in United States federal court, regardless of what the cause of action is. We've got wrongful death, we've got negligence, we've got, it sounds like, based on what you're describing, there's no pain and suffering with the tin can closing, but the jurisdiction's likely going to be the federal district courts the US of A, and it's going to be dealing with wrongful death suits against corporations, individuals, etc. And it's probably going to be a long list of people that would be included, specifically the corporation involved here. Not that we need to belabor that at all.
I was going to say, as a note, their CEO, who did talk about cutting corners to save on costs and that kind of stuff, was
Stockton
on
Rush.
board.
Yeah, Stockton Rush was quoted in a podcast. The OceanGate CEO, Stockton Rush, made the comments on CBS's David Pogue's Unsung Science podcast that safety is just pure waste.
Boy, that's not an admission. That's not an admission of guilt right there, if I've ever heard it before.
Yeah.
Put this in context from my industry. If anybody did something like this, and there haven't been anything like this yet, it's probably going to happen. Right now, they would get one suit and they'd just be done. They'd be out of business.
Well, you're going to be looking at a wrongful death suit, and the issue isn't going to be really about liability based on everything you've told me. It's going to likely be about what's the damages and discussing that component of it. So,
well, we talked about this briefly before, right? As far as waivers and like the legality of them and how well they
they don't hold up in court very often, and especially if you have they're disfavored by law in most jurisdictions. That waivers, I mean, you want to put them out there and have people sign them, but they're not. I mean, it looks at objective intent typically, but sometimes, circumstances like this, that you can't really waive. I have a hard time believing you can succumb to this, and maybe I'm wrong, but that's just what my gut tells me, having dealt with waivers both personally, practically, and legally, that that's not going to prevent a recovery for wrongful death.
You also can't waive away negligence.
No, you can't waive.
Right?
You can't waive your own negligence, but sometimes you have such abnormally dangerous acts that you're conducting that that you're taking on a risk. But if you have someone like the CEO telling you, I got it covered, there's no big deal, just sign the waiver, don't worry about it. I mean, a lot of those things are going to I think overcome that waiver. I really don't think it's going to bar recovery from someone who files a wrongful death suit. Now, I'm not giving any legal advice. It's my legal opinion, and I don't have enough facts to really give you anything more than just my gut reaction to what's going on here. That I don't think a waiver is going to stop, that young man's family from pursuing legal actions should he choose for wrongful death against the corporation or others, individually. So
if this is like a solo operation with the CEO and he was in the tin can, who do they sue? I'm assuming it's not a solo operation, but at this
The company, I'm imagining that?
yeah. So is there like a board?
well, I mean, the estate of the deceased CEO would be one person or one entity, because obviously someone who has that kind of assets has some type of estate planning tool, and therefore their estate would be along with the corporation, along with anybody who had anything to do with putting that sub together individually. So yeah, there's a laundry list of people that would be included, as well as the estates of people that were actually piloting. I mean, it's hard for me to without more facts to give you more information than just kind of these general concepts, if that makes sense.
But that's still information. That's still helpful.
Yeah.
And this is just like a question, I guess it'll be for like Bengineer and then also Pat. But like, all right, you have a company, they're making this sub or they're making any kind of item. Aren't there safety checks or other things that, like, there are governing bodies, correct, that have to check on said instruments if you're going to have your own business, or no?
Okay, so from what I know, this would be something like if the equivalent I can think of would be like, oh, SpaceX sends people to space on Dragon. They have sent some independent people to space. But the first thing they did was they had a contract for NASA. NASA, not a governing body. The FAA is right now the governing body for all this. NASA had their requirements. As far as I know, if they had just gone straight, well, I guess no, the equivalent would be like Virgin Galactic or Blue Origin. There's probably some. I have no clue what they are for submarines. No clue.
Yeah, fair enough. What is the FAA?
Federal Aviation Administration, which
got it.
aviation, not space. Yeah, that's an ongoing thing of why is the FAA dealing with space? They're overtasked already. But yeah,
Is space not big enough for its own division?
Right.
Not yet. We're getting there, though. No, that's super helpful information. Pat, did you have anything to weigh in on that?
I'm not. I'm not sure exactly which federal agency would be involved in this process, but because that's just not within my bailiwick or my knowledge base. But I'm sure that this corporation is probably not going to exist after all of this nonsense. But I could be wrong.
I
mean that's the consequence of people cutting corners and the consequence of being so arrogant in their approach that you make grievous errors like this one, and it tanks your corp.
And more importantly, I mean, I've said it before, it's just main character syndrome. The only problem is it cost 4 other people, including a young 19-year-old's life. So I don't want to, we laugh, we joke, we're a comedy podcast, and we want to sort of delve into these important, serious issues. But I don't want it to be lost on the listeners that this is a tragedy due to one person or maybe multiple people. It's based off just his own admission.
When it comes to people like
one person.
To people like this, there need to be people that they have around them that just say no. Unfortunately, they typically don't.
Well, billionaires probably are surrounded by yes men all day.
Yeah, that would be my read on this situation. Is they may be responsible not necessarily directly, but by omission, by failing to follow through with their prospective complaints, things of that nature. So
I will also say I'm not going to. The media likes to get away from things because should they report on things? Absolutely. Should they report on things we don't want to hear? Absolutely. Because if it's the truth, yada, yada. The thing that got skimmed over, and some places did end up doing this, was, this all happened with 4 people inside of it. There was also, if I'm not mistaken, a refugee ship in the middle, coming from North Africa, going towards Europe, that sank and 12 refugees were killed. How many people heard about that?
No.
Oh, I do think I heard that.
There was one this week, and I think there were 165 to 300 people that were on it.
Yeah, that's the one I heard about.
Yeah, 3 days ago in middle of June. So so it was even bigger than I thought.
Yeah, Obama went on TV to talk about it, if I recall correctly.
So that got 4 people in a submarine got way, way more press than. By the way, these aren't happening just one just happened this way. No, these are happening fairly often of people trying to get out of a awful situation in their country. And then something happens because there were 300 people on a small boat.
No, and these tragedies shouldn't be glossed over, and the seriousness of it needs to be recognized. And they're tragedies. No, I agree. The media should be held accountable, but by whom? At this point, who holds the media accountable? No one has, and they certainly don't hold themselves. So, God, I feel like we talk about this all day. We are getting close to time, but I think we have time for one more thought or one more topic. If anybody had anything,
explosions still, and this is mostly just me.
Oh, you're right. We've only talked about implosions.
Yeah, I'm going back to a topic I mentioned. I think the first episode of this season. It happened in April because a lot of people. This goes all on kind of to why are things the way they are. A lot of people. It was very big news on April 20th.
420, blaze it!
Saw the very public SpaceX launch of their of their Super Heavy and Starship rocket from South Texas. And a lot of people, and I know there were a lot of space people going on to CNN and all that kind of stuff talking about this, and I'm basically going to be reiterating what they were saying. I already talked about the pad in a past podcast. That's its own thing. What I will talk about is why people saw the launch, and then saw the rocket blow up. And everyone was like, oh, well, it failed. No, it succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. They were thinking maybe it'll get off the pad. Maybe. This made it to 40 kilometers, and then they had to, every rocket, because it could veer off course, has a basically a self-destruct thing in it. Actually, as far as I know, tends to rupture the fuel and oxidizer chambers to just make it blow up. It's a safety thing that they all have.
Everybody has their own failsafe. Got it.
So there's a range safety officer sitting at every rocket launch, and if things go too off course, they hit the big red button, and the rocket blows up. The biggest thing is that they did that for this. So they blew their own rocket up because it was spinning, it was not separating, a bunch of things happened. They didn't think they were even going to get that far, really. They blew their own rocket up. The problem was, you're supposed to hit it, it's supposed to transmit at the speed of light, and then it's supposed to blow up. This took 40 seconds to blow up.
Oh no, your failsafe didn't work.
Your failsafe was slow.
Oh, that's not what you want to hear.
That could be, and I don't know what this is due to. It could have been over-engineering on their tanks could have been too strong. I have not heard anything recently about this, but that was the thing that a lot of people in the space circle were discussing was, this was great, it was cool, the pad, that's its own thing, but it took it 40 seconds to blow up. When you told it to blow up now, if that had been falling and lower, that could have hit the ground.
Oh, where was this again?
Over very, very, very South Texas. Google Maps, Boca Chica, Texas. It is like down on the tiny little peninsula. And this is also why you launch over water.
Right, because the goal of it was to land in, oh god, which ocean?
To go off the coast of Hawaii.
Oh,
It was going to do a semi-suborbital, but up to the height of orbital level move, all ballistic, so it's going to go up and come down on its own, and land off, like, pretty far off the coast of Hawaii. It didn't make it that far. But yeah, it's sometimes you, like, the public got very into, oh, it blew up, and then obviously the pad. But it was a success. It was, by all accounts, a success.
Yeah, we talked about...
They blew up their rocket.
Well, we talked about this in a past episode, how like they didn't use concrete pads instead of water as a like sound tampering for the rocket and the sheer amount of noise it creates. So that's a whole separate issue. But the explosion was actually an intended consequence that they really wanted. In the perfect world, it would have landed and just kind of gone into the water. But the fact that they got it off the ground, the fact that they got it as high as they did before malfunction.
And you'll also hear people tossing around the term max Q.
What's that mean?
Like, that is maximum dynamic pressure. That is the drag on the rocket, because it's going through the atmosphere very quickly. Right. And that's just literally the air on the rocket creating friction, creating pressure, that kind of stuff. They always generally throttle down during then to reduce that drag when it usually hits pretty low in the atmosphere, all things considered. And you throttle down so that you don't rip your rocket apart. You don't rip wings or fins off the rocket.
Makes sense.
So them getting through max Q is another thing. They were like, because they want all those readings and that lovely data.
And they engineered it so it actually withstood those forces.
Right, it did.
That's impressive, because didn't you tell me this was like the biggest rocket ever launched ever? Yeah, by a lot?
Bigger than the Saturn V.
That's crazy. So like this, I mean, everybody sees, it exploded. Oh my gosh, this is awful. Like, no. This was a fine outcome. If anything, it gave us some insight into the safety valve not working.
They also have they have all the data from this that they can pour over for the next launch.
That reminds me of that scene from Mythbusters where what's the other one? It's Adam and who? Adam and Jamie. Jamie's standing in the target of his death ray, and he's like, my death ray is not working. I'm standing into my target and I'm still alive. It's like, the explodey button's not working. Where's the earth-shattering kaboom?
Yeah. Or
40 seconds. Goddamn.
The only difference between science and screwing around is writing it down.
There you go. I love it. That's the note we should end on. Well, thank you guys for being here and exploring on the why the hell are things the way they are and talking about some pretty hot topics right now. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. Appreciate you. Your time is valuable, so choosing to listen to us, listen to our own voices is appreciated. Follow us on social media. Follow us on all major podcast platforms. Download the episodes to show support. Listen along, and if you have ideas, on the subreddit, leave requests. We have posts about what topics you guys want to hear. We wanted to have a Q&A episode coming up, so if there's things that people are dying to hear about, this is your forum to let us know. Any last-minute things, guys? All right, then.
Yeah,
well,
actually,
thank you
one,
all.
I think.
Oh?
I think it'd be important to say that we're going to have a special guest on our podcast next week.
Oh, that's right.
You
I
should
almost
definitely
forgot.
tease that.
Yes. 300,000 followers on TikTok, over 2-some million likes. We will have Rick Yee of the Warrior Way Mindset TikTok and podcast. He is a internationally renowned psychologist who's helped thousands of people in multiple different countries, guest starring on our season finale, helping us talk about a lot of the psychology in modern times and talking about why are people so unhappy? What is it about these modern times that have us all down? What can we do to sort of right the ship in order, get ourselves right mentally? So tune in for that. We're very thankful to have him on. We're very excited for it. Follow along and tune in. It's going to be a blast. And in the meantime, thank you and take care.
Bye.